All right, let's round it up with the secondary rankings written by John Costco. So the official PFF secondary rankings, number 1, the New York Jets. Number 2, the San Francisco 49ers, two teams that have been in these rankings a lot. And then number 3, the Buffalo Bills. So where were you on the secondary rankings?
Yeah, I wish I could get down with the Buffalo Bills, but I can't do it anymore. I feel like they've lost too much. They're too unproven for me.
Yeah, I don't have that one either.
I was gonna say I don't know if I'm spoiling it or if I'm calling you out here, but my top 3 secondaries: New York Jets. I still have it number 1. Sauce Gardner's the best corner in football, right? I mean, DJ Reed might be the best CB2 in football. Michael Carter's a really great nickel player. They get Chuck Clark back. I know they lost Jordan Whitehead, but I still think that unit is really strong, and certainly the corners I think is one of the strongest in the NFL. Number 2 for me is Miami. They have the CB1 in Jalen Ramsey. They have a really good slot player in Kader Kohu. I like them bringing in Kendall Fuller to play on the outside opposite Jalen Ramsey. They have Javon Holland, who I think is a really good safety. And now they added Jordan Poyer, who's a fantastic veteran safety as well. And Marcus May is on this team.
Yeah.
Like, this is a really good secondary that, I don't know, maybe is not getting enough credit that it deserves going into the season. So I got Miami at number 2. And then this one's a projection a little bit. I've got Baltimore at number 3. They've still got Marlon Humphrey. The year that Kyle Hamilton had last year was Defensive Player of the Year worthy. They've got Marcus Williams. They have Brandon Stevens. But then it's their draft that also really gets me intrigued with this team. Having Nate Wiggins, having TJ Tampa. They drafted Bo Braid from Maryland as well. They still have Ardarius Washington. Like, this is a group that me having them at number 3 might be a little rich. I feel like I can get away with it because of Kyle Hamilton and Marlon Humphrey alone. But those younger guys that they drafted, I'm really excited about. And if any of those players can really hit the ground running and be contributors, I think this is a really strong secondary group.
No, I agree. I think it's a good group. We match in our first 2. I obviously have the Jets number 1 as well. I also have Miami number 2. I thought I was
Let's go.
Thought I was kind of going out on a limb there, but you're right. Like, the strength of that group is actually crazy. They've got Ramsey. They bring in Kendall Fuller. I still like Cam Smith as well as a depth player at corner there. And then that safety group with Javon Holland, Jordan Poyer, Marcus May. It is a really strong secondary. The third team that I had, though, was the Cleveland Browns. And I think we saw last year, like, just how strong that group is once you put a defensive line in front of them. Like, they got lit up a couple of years ago because it was Myles Garrett and nobody else. And then last year, you suddenly give Myles Garrett some help, and you see the talent that they have. Obviously, Denzel Ward, incredible corner. Greg Newsome is really good. Martin Emerson has become an amazing player for them. Grant Delpit at safety is a good player. And then you've got, the depth of Juan Thornhill, Ronnie Hickman, Rodney McLeod is there. That's a really strong group.
Yep. That was the other team that I thought, because once you get past whoever your fourth team is, like if it's the teams that we had here, like I don't know if you would throw Baltimore at number 4, but me having Baltimore at number 3, Cleveland would have been my number 4. After that, you start getting into a discussion about like a lot of different secondaries in the NFL that I could have a case, because normally it's like, okay, it's a stud, or it's just a team with a high floor, maybe a low ceiling. So there's a lot of different directions that you can go with secondary rankings after this. But in my opinion, Cleveland was easily my fourth team, could have very well been my third team, because you're right, that cornerback group alone is so strong, much like the Jets have at number 1.
And then I feel like this is the case for basically every unit on this roster, but Green Bay feel like a team that I'm not saying they should be in the top 3, but there's definitely a world where they play like that this season. Like the range of outcomes for Green Bay across the board because of that young roster, I think seems to be incredibly big. So they've got this group where, like, the top end, we've seen Jair Alexander play like the best cornerback in the NFL. We've seen Eric Stokes play at a really high level. Keyshawn Nixon in the slot, I think, is a really good player. The depth is good with Carrington Valentine, Corey Ballantyne. They added Xavier McKinney as their big money, free agent splash. They've got some depth there now. Javon Bullard, coming in as a draft pick. Like, it might not all come together, but there's definitely a world where that group plays like an elite secondary.
Yep. No, I agree. Green Bay would have, at the very least, I think, been in a top 8 if I was doing this article. But I think the longer you look at this group in Green Bay, the more you can easily convince yourself they can be really dang good this year.
Right. So that's all the rankings that we're going to go through today. You can go find the rest of them at pff.com, find all of the stuff that we've been talking about.